Going, Marie? All right, it's 9 a.m. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. So in the next 30 minutes or so, we will be sharing some tips, tricks, and guides to help create some movement within your office workspace to actively prevent aches and pains. Hi, my name is Jack. I am an ergonomist here at Sandalwood Engineering and Ergonomics, and I will be facilitating this webinar. And first off, I would like to thank everyone here for joining us today. I hope you find it informative and effective in introducing some movement into your workday. Now with me, I have Jacob McCara and our special guest, Dr. Miles Wardrope. So Jacob is an associate ergonomist who has been here at Sandalwood Engineering and Ergonomics for over 4 years. He has worked on projects involving office ergonomics, automotive manufacturing, digital human modeling, product design, job rotation, and other general risk assessments. Now, for those who aren't familiar, Sandalwood is an engineering and ergonomics consulting firm that was founded back in 1989. And our mission is to identify, assess, and reduce work-related risk to quality, productivity, and employee health and safety. And of course, I would also like to introduce our special guest, Dr. Miles Wardrope. So Dr. Wardrope is a chiropractor who has developed a passion for treating musculoskeletal disorders that impact your ability to achieve the most out of your life. And in particular, he will spend the time to educate and work with his patients to ensure that they have the knowledge surrounding why they are experiencing pain and how to overcome it. I should also mention that he is an avid outdoorsman enjoying hiking, kayaking, skiing, and preparing the odd culinary dish. So welcome to you both. Now, before we jump into the content, I just have a few housekeeping items. So first, if you missed anything or just want to refer back to this information, a recorded version of this webinar will be available afterwards. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy. And second, we will be answering some questions at the end of this webinar. So please use the Q&A feature on your screen to submit any questions you may have, or use the chat function to share your experiences throughout the webinar. And if you are watching the recorded version, we would love to hear from you as well on any of our social platforms, and they will be linked at the end of this webinar as well. And finally, we'll be going through some live demonstrations and hope you will actively participate as we guide you through some simple yet very effective stretches from head to toe to help prevent aches and pains throughout your workday. All right, so with that being said, I will pass it off to Jacob to get us started.
All right, thanks, Jack. So as we know, working from home has many benefits. However, we often ignore the aches and pains that can arise when working from home. And these are often caused by workspaces being improperly set up or employees not taking preventative measures to reduce these aches and pains. So our webinar on May 18th actually discussed how to set up your office properly. So if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. But today we're going to be focusing specifically on preventative measures to reduce aches and pains. Before we get started, I just wanted to discuss some of the challenges that I've faced personally when working from home. So when we first transitioned to working from home, I think like a lot of us, I thought this was going to be a temporary transition. So I didn't really invest in a proper workstation setup. And because of this, I worked on my dining table and sat on a dining room chair with a hard wooden back for a few months. And obviously that eventually caused some back pain. So at that point, I decided to invest in a proper setup. So I ended up purchasing a sit-stand desk and an adjustable chair. But I also tried to incorporate some movement by going on some daily walks during my lunchtime, weather permitting, of course, just to get out and get up, stretch, exercise a little bit. And some other challenges that others may have faced when working from home as compared to working in an office environment is that they might not have a formalized office setup at home. And the work area may actually change throughout the day. So you might move from working on the couch to working at a table. And even those that do have a dedicated office setup or a dedicated office space, they might not have an appropriate setup for them, meaning a chair and a desk that's appropriate for them, and other ergonomic equipment. And also there might not be any standard work from home setup. And even within the same company, there's a lot of variability too. And another challenge is that there's less opportunities for socializing when working from home. So when you're in the office, you can get up, walk around, go talk to your colleagues, get up and go to a conference room. We don't really have those same opportunities when working from home. So overall, that can result in less movement throughout the day. So one of our primary goals as ergonomists is to reduce musculoskeletal disorders, also known as MSDs. And these include strains, sprains, herniations related to muscles, tendons, ligaments, and bones. And among office workers, the regions of the body most often affected are the neck, the back, the shoulders, and the wrists. And some common MSDs for office workers include chronic back pain, carpal tunnel syndrome, tendonitis at the shoulder and elbow, tension neck syndrome, as well as sciatica. Some signs and symptoms of MSDs include pain, numbness, discomfort, headaches, cramping, and tingling in the affected areas. And MSDs can impact both your work and home life by disrupting sleep and reducing productivity, as well as your overall quality of life. And this is why preventative approaches such as incorporating movement into your workday are so important. So part of preventing aches and pains when working at a desk is changing up your posture frequently throughout the day. So many people are familiar with what would be considered the optimal or the neutral posture while sitting at a desk, which would be sitting upright with your feet flat on the floor, the knees and elbows bent at or just above 90 degrees. And while this is considered the optimal posture, staying in any one posture throughout the workday can lead to some muscle fatigue and therefore aches and pains, especially at the low back. Because of this, it's equally important to change your posture and incorporate movement throughout the day. So this graph here, it shows the increasing pressure on the discs in the back given various postures. And the reason this is important is that the elevated disc pressure can lead to back pain. So many people don't know that actually sitting in a proper posture places greater pressure on the disc when compared to standing. However, that doesn't mean that we actually want you to be standing for an entire shift. The key to preventing discomfort is changing postures. So we recommend to alternate between standing and sitting throughout the day to allow your legs, your feet, and your back to relax at different points throughout the day. One of the most popular ways of incorporating movement throughout the workday is using a sit-stand desk, also known as a height adjustable desk. And there's a few main styles that exist. So there's a full-size desk, which used to be the most expensive option. However, the price has reduced significantly in recent years. There are desk converters, which sit on top of pretty much any existing desk. You can also look at retrofitting an existing desk with an adjustable base. So you just purchase the base and you can place any tabletop on top of it to create a full-size adjustable desk. And there's also using a monitor arm with a keyboard tray. So those would clamp to the back of any existing desk, and that would allow you to transition between sitting and standing. So there's no single solution for everyone, and there's individual differences such as height, desk space available, and the job tasks, which need to be considered. For example, the height of most traditional desks are actually too high for a lot of shorter people. So therefore, in that case, adding a desk converter on top of a traditional desk will actually increase the working height while seated and place shorter individuals at greater risk. So an ergonomics professional can help assess some of these individual differences in order to find the best option for you. The cost of some sit-stand desks can still be prohibitive, even though they've reduced a lot recently. And some people might not have the space for them either. So there's some cheaper options that can be made at home if you just combine some basic ergonomic principles and some creativity as well. So similar to the optimal posture for sitting, there is an optimal posture for working while standing. And that's primarily just working, so your arms should be relaxed at your sides with your elbows bent at or just above 90 degrees while typing at the desk. So some things that you can do at home to achieve that optimal posture would be using boxes, containers, or books to create your own standing desk. And once it's built, it can take less than 30 seconds to transition between sitting and standing. So it's recommended to transition from sitting to standing every 30 minutes or so. And while standing, you can also shift your posture from side to side every few minutes to target different muscle groups in order to try and, again, incorporate some more movement into your day. So sit-stand desks, of course, are not the only way to incorporate movement when working from home. If you have an adjustable chair, you may have the option to unlock the backrest or adjust the backrest resistance. And with the backrest unlocked, you can comfortably lean back and relieve some pressure from your low back while on phone calls or in meetings or whenever you don't need to be actually actively typing or using a mouse at your computer. Some other things you can do, you can try and take advantage of your work from home situation by going for a walk or a bike ride or even doing some gardening during your lunch break. Anything to get up, get outside for a little bit and incorporate some exercise. Another way to add movement would be to just simply alternate hands when using a mouse throughout the day. So you can just use one mouse and switch back and forth. The method I prefer to use is actually using two different mice. And so I've got one for each hand, and you can adjust the settings for the left and right hand to set the button clicks appropriately to make this a pretty seamless transition throughout the day. And lastly, you can also try and incorporate some desk stretches and exercises throughout the day. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Wardrobe, who will help guide us through some stretches and exercises.
Thank you, Jake. So as Jake was saying, it's very important that we do kind of change position and move around. It really counteracts a lot of that static positioning that you have with the office work. So even moving around more is very important to keep off those musculoskeletal pains and discomforts. So we're going to go through this together. If you guys have the opportunity to just kind of have some good space, it's best that we can do the stretches and exercises, and then you can actually feel how they're going. And then if you have any questions, you can always ask me at the end. We're going to start off with the neck and especially into some of the head. So oftentimes this is going to be quite a pain in your neck. And we're going to start off with just some simple range of motion exercises. So first things first, let's look all the way down. And you want to hold this for a good 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to look up. 1, 2, 3. Then let's look to the right. 1, 2, 3. And then all the way to the left. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to stretch out those upper trap regions, which might get tight with a lot of that desk work, especially if you are having your shoulders to your ears. You're going to bend your head to your one shoulder. You're going to take your hand and we're going to put some over pressure onto it. You want to feel a good stretching through the side of your neck. And if it helps, take your other hand and grab the bottom of your chair. And so let's hold this for a good 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so same thing for the other side. Grab the chair with your other hand. Let's take your hand, put it around your head and bend that neck to the side. Really feeling the stretch through here. And let's hold that for another 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to do another kind of neck muscle called your levator scapula. This can become tight with a lot of typing and mouse work. You want to look down and look into your armpit. So if we're going to be stretching onto the right side, you then take your right hand looking into your right armpit. You're going to apply some overpressure, and then you're going to rotate your head midline until you start feeling an increase in tension in the back of your neck. So we're going down, hand over top, rotating until you feel there's a good tension. So for me, it's right here. And we're going to hold this for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let's try that on the other side. So looking into now that left armpit, hand over top of the head. We're going to go down and then we're going to rotate more to that midline until you feel that tension really increasing. And we're going to hold that for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. We're going to move on to the shoulders now. So with the shoulders, we're going to start off with just some simple motions. We want to take your shoulders, you want to come up and roll them backwards, up and roll them backwards. So let's do this 5 more times. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we're going to go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is really good to keep motion into the shoulders, especially if you do find yourself in a very static position for too long. It can really stretch out the back muscles and tighten up the front end of the muscles. So the next one that we will be stretching are the pecs. So the pecs with a lot of desk work will get tight. They pull the shoulders forward, and then it can be kind of harder, or you might feel a little bit more restricted when you're doing the shoulder rolling backwards. So for this one, it's best if we find a door, or in my case, I'm just going to use this handy bar that we have in clinic. You're going to do a 90-degree. So you're going to have your arm that you're going to be stretching out your pec with at a 90-degree angle, and then a 90-degree. We're going to then place our hands onto that door, or in my case, the bar. You're going to take a nice lunge position with your opposite leg in front of you. You want to lunge into this stretch, really feeling it across the pec region. So we're going to hold that for a good 10 seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to switch to the other side. So remember, 90-degree, 90, 90, placing it on the door, taking a nice lunge position with the opposite leg, and we just want to lunge into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's actually one of my favorite stretches to do, even for myself. It is very easy to get some tight pectoral muscles. And then as a result, it just pulls everything forward and can give you even some shoulder pain. Next, we're going to move on into your wrists, into your hands. So your wrists, the muscles in your forearms will cross across your wrist to go into your hand. So it's important that we stretch the forearm as well as treat the wrist in order to really help keep off that wrist pain. So we're going to start off with just the range of motion, just like we were doing with the neck and the shoulders. So we want to do circles and then back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then some waving. So we'll do one at a time. So you want to go back and forth just like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and same thing with this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now then, we're going to stretch your forearm flexors. These can get tight, a lot of typing, a lot of mouse work. So we want to start by having your arm out straight with your other hand. You want to take a contact onto your fingers. We're then going to bend the fingers backwards, pushing the elbow upright to get a nice stretch through the forearm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can even turn this into a bit more of a dynamic stretch if you would like to as well, if that feels a little bit better, but also static is adequate. And we're going to do the same thing for this side. So we're going to come out, bring it, pushing the elbow up, getting that wrist to go back a little bit and holding this for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. We're halfway through the stretches. I hope everyone's feeling a little good with the morning stretches. We're going to move on to the lower back region, which can be an area of complaint for a lot of individuals, especially when you are sitting for a long period of time, which is, as Jake was saying, kind of changing that position and posture is very important. So the first one that we're going to start off with is we're going to do some just full body range of motion and then really kind of focus on some twisting as well. So for this one, it's best if we stand up. So especially if you have that sit to stand desk, this is when you can, when you do a sit to stand, take 5-10 minutes to just do some range of motion. So So we're going to start off just by bending forward. So you want to kind of keep your hips nice and still, and you just want to be bending through that back, just going down as far as you comfortably feel. And we're just going to hang out here for a good few seconds. For this one, we're just going to do 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to come back up, and we're going to come into an extension now. So you're going to take your hands, put them into the small of your back. And what we want to do is you want to extend backwards along the spine, not through the hips. If you're going through the hips like that, you're not getting as much through the low back, which is what we need, which is why you want to focus on hinging around your hands. And so going around, and then let's hold that there. 1, 2, 3. For the extensions, I find doing multiple repetitions, kind of going up the low back as you go through it, can feel very nice. Applying some overpressure into the back as you're going back through there. Only go to comfort for this one. Next, we're going to have some lateral bending. So you can either put your hands together like this, or we can keep them at your side. I'll be putting them to my side. Take a nice shoulder width apart, and you're just going to bend to the one side, bend to the other side. 2, 3. Good. So you may have noticed that for a few of these, I was holding them, and other ones I was doing repetitions. You can vary it up and see which one feels best for you when it comes to just the range of motion. For the flexion, so bending forward, I like to hold that. But then for my extension, I like to do more repetitions with shorter holds. So play around, figure out what is kind of best for your body. Next, if you're sitting in the chair and you want to kind of get some good rotation through that low back, if it's getting a little tight, we can then do a seated lumbar rotation. So for this, we want to focus on either holding onto a chair, keeping your feet planted on the floor, and then you just want to turn, rotate until you feel a good stretch through this region of your lower back. So let's do that right now. Let's stretch that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Same thing onto the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, while we're still in the seated position, we're going to do a seated glute figure 4 stretch. So for this, what we'll do, put your leg, if you can, over into your other leg around your knee. Even if it's like this is okay. It might be a little tight on these tissues. Applying some slight pressure downwards onto the knee. And then what we want to focus on is keeping the back straight and then leaning forward into it. You don't want to bend like that. You want to back and then lean. And then so you want to feel a stretch through the glutes right through here. So let's do this one together, and let's hold this for a good 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so let's try the other side. Making a nice figure 4, applying some slight pressure onto the knee, kind of stabilizing your ankle as well. Locking that back out straight, so putting yourself into a bit of that extension, bringing that chest up to the ceiling. And then we want to go forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Next, you're going to be stretching out your quadriceps and your hamstring region. So for this, the first thing that we are going to start off with is getting up standing. We want to do that hamstring stretch first. So for this, stand up, place your foot slightly in front of you. You can put your hands on your hips, and what you want to, and with your toe, you want your toe to be upwards. You then want to sink back, almost like you're sitting back on the chair a little bit. And then you want to feel that nice stretch through those tight hamstrings. And so we're going to do that. Let's go do this one together and hold it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then same thing for the other side. So I'm just going to lower the screen a little bit so you can also see what's happening with my foot here. So we have the foot upwards like that, and then we're bending on down, just like so. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. We're almost done. And so with the standing hamstring stretch, if you're also noticing that you're struggling to do that standing up, you can even try to do it either on the ground or from your chair. Come to the edge of your chair, putting that out in front of the leg, and then same thing, stretching on down, and you can get the same effect. It depends though. Some people may like them standing, some might like it sitting. We're going to do the quadricep stretch. So for this one, find a nice door or somewhere where you can kind of stabilize, or even a wall where you can hold yourself. So for me, I'm using the handy dandy bar here. You're going to take your ankle, you're going to grab it, you're going to have it from behind you. You're then going to pull that leg slightly backwards until you start feeling a stretch through the front end of your leg, quadriceps. And so let's bring it back to really get that stretch. And we're going to hold that for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. Bringing it back, bring that leg back. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Our last one is going to be more of a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So for this one, we want to kneel down onto the ground into a nice lunge position. When you're in this lunge position, we're going to be stretching out the leg that is straight down. So for this, you can even try just going forward, really seeing if you get a stretch to the front end of your hip here. If you're not getting a stretch through here, what you can do then is you can put your arms up, and then we rotate and we lean back further and then play around with it until you find that good tension. For me, it's all the way back here. So I'm going to lift the camera up so you can see what my upper body's doing. So arms up, rotate, twist, and lean in. So let's do this one together. So when I come up, find that nice hip tension. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's do it for the other side. If you also find that the pressure on your knee is a little painful, you can get a foam pad to put underneath your knee, or even like a yoga mat to really help support some of that knee, or even a pillow. A pillow helps to cushion, especially the more tile floor. And so we're doing the same thing, stretching that now to the left. So lunging forward, bringing up, rotating. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So that concludes us on all the stretches and exercises. It's usually best if you guys can try to do it every 45, 50 minutes, stretch for about 10 to 15 minutes as well if you can, really focusing on moving that posture, moving that position, and kind of preventing yourself from being stuck in a position for too long, because that's what will create a lot of musculoskeletal discomfort. So that concludes me. If you want to find more about me, you can find me in Milton at Milton Back Dock, or in Hamilton, Ontario at One Wellness Group. So if you're not in Ontario, I would love to see you. But if you are, same thing. I'd love to see you. And I really hope that these stretches and exercises can help keep off a lot of that pain so you can keep working as efficiently and comfortably as possible. I'm going to pass it back to Jake now.
Perfect. Thanks, Miles. So we'd like to reiterate that many of the recommendations provided today are free and can easily be incorporated into your workday. So as such, we encourage you to set some recurring reminders a few times per day to perform stretches and exercises in order to establish some healthy habits to prevent aches and pains. Ideally, all of these stretches and exercises should be done every day. However, most of us won't realistically have time to do so. Therefore, feel free to use some reminders similar to these that would allow you to target every region of the body throughout the work week. So we hope you enjoyed this short webinar and we're able to provide some helpful information to all of you. At Sandalwood, we offer several ergonomic services specific to office ergonomics, including some training, one-on-one assessments, product recommendations, reporting and case tracking, accommodation, return to work, and job matching, as well as workplace design advice.
All right, thank you both. So I just looking at the time here, we're just about at the end of our time. So unfortunately, we probably won't be able to go through any questions, but if you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below after the this recording is posted. So again, thank you so much to Dr. Wardrope and Jacob for joining us and sharing your expertise. Again, if you're not connected with us yet on LinkedIn, please make sure to do so with the QR code on the screen. And we will be posting this webinar and other informative content for you to enjoy soon. As well, you can check out our website, sandalwood.com, for any additional resources. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, see you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.